To work with Google Sheets today, we are logged into a Gmail account. Right now, we're on the main Google homepage. To find Google Sheets from here, we can easily go up to the 9 dots in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to scroll down and go ahead and click on the Google Sheets logo. All right, from here, I can see the template gallery. If I needed to work with any of the existing templates that they have, I would be able to use these. But we are going to go back to our main screen here and begin working with a blank spreadsheet. All right, so while Google saves everything in the cloud in real time, so we don't have to give it a name and a location, we can choose to give our file a more helpful file name than Untitled Spreadsheet. I'm just going to call this Practice Google Sheets. See over here, it's saving, save to drive. All right, so that that little cloud with the check mark lets us know that whatever we've just done has been saved automatically to our Google Drive. All right, some other things of note as we navigate around. Here's the file name. We can star a file if we want to be able to get to it quickly in the future. If we need to save it in a specific folder, we can do that over here with this little folder icon. And the cloud lets us know that the file has been saved. Within the different menu items, you'll see that there are a number of tools that you can use. We'll be using a few of these throughout. And then we have a ribbon of sorts over here that we can use to more quickly access things. Things that are here are also included within these drop-down menus. Okay, so I'm going to update my zoom. So instead of 100%, I think I'm going to go for 200 just to keep things a little easier to see. I will get started by typing in the names of the cookies belonging to the Smart Cookie Bakery Company that we'll be working with today. In A1, just going to automatically start typing in oatmeal, and then I will press the Enter key on my keyboard to move one cell down to A2. Next is chocolate chip. Now that I have the names of all of the cookies listed, I can start to add in some other information. One thing that could present a challenge, though, is that we don't have any header rows. There's no identifying information to let us know in the future what these are referring to. They could be cookie flavors, they could be something else. So to add in a row, there's a few ways we can do this. I'm going to select A1, and from the Insert tab here, I can choose Rows and select one row above. Another option, I'm going to undo for a moment, would be to right-click and choose Insert one row above. Just two ways to do the same thing. Our now empty A1, we're going to list as cookies so that we have some helpful information to understand what this is. The cookies I would like to reorganize so that they are listed in alphabetical order. All right, I'm going to highlight my cookies. You can do this just this section with a click, hold, and drag, or you can select the letter to highlight the whole column if you have a longer list. Next, I'm going to go to Data, Sort Range. Now, I am going to be sorting A to Z, but I don't want to sort by column A. That would include cookies, and we want that to remain our label. So I'm going to choose Advanced Range Sorting Options. Here, we can tell Sheets that our data has a header row and that cookies should remain exactly where it is. We don't need to make any other changes and can go ahead and say sort. All right, so now our information has been updated. Next, for today's example, we are determining if the Smart Cookie Bakery Company was to create 4 variety boxes with the proposed amounts all A equal a dozen, and B, on average, if you were to buy all 4 variety boxes, would you get a similar number of each of the types of cookies? So we are going to be gathering the sum and average based on the different types of boxes. In B1, I'm writing box 1 and pressing enter or tab. Just want to exit the cell. This way, Sheets knows that we are done typing. From here, I'm going to use this little circle icon to turn my cursor into a fill handle. When it looks like this, the little plus sign, we can click, hold, and drag. I'm going to bring it over to E1, And you'll see that Google Sheets is able to identify a pattern, right? So we had box and then a number, and it continues that the whole way through. Next, I'm just going to take a moment to type in the quantities. All right, now that we have all of our amounts in, we can begin working on some functions. First, we want to make sure that each of these four boxes totals the same amount. I'm going to add in a label in A7 that says totals, and then using the tab key, move over to B7. Now, this tool over here is our functions. If I click on this, you'll see I get a drop down of a variety of different functions that we can choose from. We're going to go with the very first one, some common ones over here. We're going to choose sum. And you'll see that it's going to insert the function, and then we have the opportunity to decide what cells are referenced. We're going to choose the range B2 to B6. By using the click, hold, and drag method with the mouse, we're able to highlight all of those cells and let Sheets write it in for us. Once we have equals sum, open parentheses, B2 colon B6, close parentheses, go ahead and press enter. And excellent, we have 12 cookies in that box. I'm going to use again the fill handle to update the other three boxes. And from here, you can see in our formula bar that our fill worked perfectly. Everything over here is updated. Next, we need to know on average how many of each cookie is in a box. So we're going to label F1 average. And then once again, using our functions tool, first, of course, make sure that F2 is selected. Choose from that dropdown the second option, average. Again, Sheets is going to update our cell with the formula and give us the chance to choose exactly what cells should be referenced. So this time we are working by cookie type, and that's why we're following along in row 2 as opposed to a column. I've pressed enter. Now often Google Sheets will suggest, if they're identifying there may be a pattern, an autofill. In this case, you certainly could click the check mark and allow it to fill in. We don't need the average for our totals, so I can go ahead and delete that. If this didn't pop up or you weren't able to use it, the fill handle would once again work, no problem. Now I would like to update these numbers so that they are whole numbers instead of decimals. So first I'm going to highlight by click, hold, and drag. And in the section over here in our menu, I'm going to choose the decrease decimal places. So we should only need to click this twice, 1, 2, and all of our averages have been rounded to the nearest whole number. All right, it looks like on average, you're getting 2 or 3 of each cookie in a box. They all equal 12. We figured out the information we needed. Now we can make this look nice so that it's very clear to anyone we were to pass it off to. First, I want to add in another row. So as a reminder, we have a few ways to do this. I can right click within row 1 and choose to insert a row above, or once I've selected a cell in row 1, go to the insert menu and choose row. Either way, it's going to push everything down and give us some blank cells to work with. Now I'd like to have one large cell that we can put some information in. So first we're going to highlight A1 to F1 and then use this merge cell tool. Clicking right on that icon, we've turned those 6 individual cells into one large one. And from here, we're just going to type in Smart Cookie Bakery, press enter, and I'm going to make a few changes. First, I'd like to center this. You can make alignment changes very quickly over here. Some other font changes we might want to make: bolding the text, choosing a different style. We can have something that is our version of the logo. I'm also going to change the size. If you know specifically what you would like, you can type it in. You can click on the current number and choose from the dropdown, or use the plus sign. This will increase one font size at a time, allowing you to get an idea of what you might like. While this is selected, I'm also going to change the background color. So for this, I've got that, and I'm going to change the font color. Next, I'd like to make row 2 complementary to what we've done in row 1. So in this case, first, I'm going to center each of these labels. By highlighting all of them at once, I can make all of these changes one click at a time instead of having to do it individually. I'm also going to make this bold, but I'll leave the font as it was. I'm going to increase the size slightly and change the color. Now I need to apply these same styles to totals, which is in A8. Instead of having to make all the same changes over again, I'm going to select one of the cells that has the formatting I'd like to copy, and then use this tool. It looks like a paint roller. This is our Format Painter tool. This is going to copy the formatting from the selected cell and then paint it onto the next cell I select. I'd also like to adjust these numbers slightly so that they are centered. All right, next we want to get this ready to print. I'm going to select the printer icon and you'll see what I have. This is fine, the information is all there, but we can make it look a bit more complete. From this printer settings page, I'm going to choose a header and footer. Let's see, I'm going to use a custom fields so that I can choose specifically what goes into these 3 sections. Up at the top, I'm going to put my name. In the middle, I'm going to select the letter T and choose the workbook title, which is what we established at the beginning. And then on the third, over to the right, I'll put today's date. You'll see if I click on the calendar icon, there's lots of different formats I can use for today's date. Finally, at the bottom, I'm going to fill in with the page number and then say confirm. So I've got some information up here. All right, so I would like to make this table slightly larger. On the scale, I'm going to change it to custom number and see about making it 150%. All right, I think that fits pretty nicely. And just have to adjust my view there. The page is already landscape, which works very nicely. Grid lines are showing, that's what's giving us the visual of the cells. And then over here where it says vertical, I'm going to choose center. That will place my table nicely in the center. So after this, I don't really see any other changes I'd like to make. I'm going to press next. And from here, I would get a print preview. You can also choose to save your document as a PDF if need be. And you can go through from there. All right, so we've created a document with Google Sheets. Thank you.